Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalam ala rasulullah. Amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, it is my honor and pleasure to be here with you all today. Jazakumullah khair for attending from your busy schedule. Today, inshallah, we're going to speak about something very simple, nothing complicated. What is the purpose of life? What are we here doing on earth? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes this very clear for us, alhamdulillah, in the Quran, where He says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created jinn or mankind except for the sole purpose that they worship me. There is a difference between saying, I have created mankind and jinn so that they worship me, and saying, I have not created mankind and jinn illa except that they worship me. What is the difference? Very simple but very important difference. This difference, except that they worship me, meaning there is no other purpose except the ubudiyyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means any other thing that comes in between this objective of life is a distraction. We have only one exit. When you take the highway and you want to go somewhere, you already have a destination in mind. You know which exit to take. You may have to take gas on the side of the road. You may take the wrong exit, but at one point you have to end up at the proper exit. It doesn't matter how many miles later, 50 miles, 70 miles, 100 miles, at one point there's a specific exit. Once you see the sign, you take the right. This is our life. We have many detours, right, left. This is the shayateen. They take us away from our objective. We take break. Sometimes we have to refuel the car, re-energize. But we do not stay at the rest area once we take the gas. That is not our objective, to take the gas. We stay there 30, 40 minutes, go to the restaurant, get soda, eat, but then we hit the road again. Because we have one purpose of life, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Similarly, our life, I like to compare it to a classroom. A classroom. Your professor or a teacher in school. At the first day of class, what does he give you? He gives you a sheet of paper, the curriculum, the course. And on the first thing, on the top, the first line, it says ahdaf. The goals of this course. Meaning what you will learn in this course. What do we achieve in this course? And by the end of the semester, you are expected to know alif, ba, jim, and so on and so on. A, B, C, D, A, F, G. And then at the end of the course, not only are you expected to know that, you will be tested on that. You will have to prove that you know that. You cannot just say, I know it, and then expect to get the A in the class. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. That do the people think that just by their speech, by them saying, I have believed, that they will be left alone without being tested? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test us in order for us to prove to ourselves first, and then to Allah, of course, if we really are worth what we say. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, if we look in the seerah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was tested with a great test. He says, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ أَلَا إِنَّ نَصْرَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ. Allah is talking about Ghazwat Ahzab, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do you think that you will enter into paradise when the people before you, they came, مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ, tribulation and musibah, Allah put them through these trials and tribulation. وَزُلْزِلُوا, and they were shaken, zilzal, like an earthquake. Their iman was shaken until Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا, even Messenger of Allah himself and those who believed. Pay attention to the context that we're not talking about us, you and me. We're talking about the Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum, people like Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman. These people, they started saying, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when is Allah going to help us? Imagine Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had Isra al-Mi'raj. He saw Nasr of Allah in Ghazwat Badr. He saw the natija of Ghazwat, the result, that at the end, that the Muslims were the ones who were victorious. They were the ghalibun. They won. They saw the results of Nasrullah in the battle. But even him, after seeing all this with his own eyes, it's not just theory. For us, it's theory because we did not live in the time of Rasulullah. We're just reading from the Quran. We did not see it. We believe it, of course. But it is one thing to believe without seeing it, and it's another thing to see it. Rasulullah himself was tested that much that he himself is saying, when is the help of Allah going to come? But Allah makes it very clear that these tests are not something which is new. He will test us. Why? He says, الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. The one who has created death and life. Why? Did you notice that he mentioned death first, even though hayat is before death? We live and then we die, of course. But over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ, so that he may test you, أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Who amongst you is the best of deeds, does the best of a'mal, the best of actions. So our sole objective is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever life Allah gives us, whether it be 30 years, 40 years, 70 years, 80 years. Because at the end of these 80 years, we know what happens. مِنْهَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ وَفِيهَا نُعِيدُكُمْ وَمِنْهَا نُخْرِجُكُمْ تَارَةً أُخْرَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Taha, from the earth, from the turab, from the teen, from the dirt we have created you. وَفِيهَا نُعِيدُكُمْ, and then we will return you back into it. وَمِنْهَا نُخْرِجُكُمْ تَارَةً أُخْرَى, and then we will bring you back up again. Why will He bring us back up again? For the final exam, which is Yawm al-Hisab, the last day. That's why anytime I go somewhere, talk about the purpose of life, I like to make the comparison with a classroom. We have the ahdaf on the top. We are expected to know such, such, such. The professor will examine you, will test you. You have to prove by answering questions that you know such, such, such. These tests are similar to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. The same way the professor tests the students, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test us with what? بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ, with fear, وَالْجُوعِ, and hunger, وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ, poverty, being poor, وَالْأَنفُسِ, and even losing of life, وَالثَّمَرَاتِ, and food, sustenance. But amongst all this, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, be patient, because there's glad tidings. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ, those when a tribulation or calamity falls upon them, قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. For any musibah, not necessarily just for maut. Any musibah. We belong to Allah, to Him we shall return. Our goal is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we sleep about 8 hours a day, those who are lucky, they get that much, of course. And living in this country is very hard to get 8 hours. People are working, inshallah. They're very nasheed. They wake up early in the morning, they sleep very late. But assuming you get 8 hours of sleep, because this is what the scientists say you should be getting, 8 hours. Your doctors would say that. I'm sure we have doctors sitting here and other professionals. They would recommend 8 hours of sleep, 7 to 8 hours. A day is 24 hours, so you have lost 1/3 of your life in sleep. So you really haven't lived 70 years or 80 years. You have actually lived less than that. You have lost 20 years on the bed. The other 8 hours, excuse me, assuming that you are working 8 hours, but most people do not work just 8 hours. They work many longer hours than that. 18 hours maybe, 16 hours. But let us be conservative. Let's assume 8 hours. In the industry, it is 8 hours, 9 to 5, 8 to 4. You have lost another 1/3 of your life busy with work. And again, that is a conservative estimate. We know that from personal experience. They're just putting simple numbers there, so it's easy for us to do the math. Now we have 8 more hours left. Now that 8 hours we have to distribute amongst our family. We have to do our shopping. We have to take care of our kids. We have to go to the park. We have to talk to our friends. We have to catch up on the news. We have to eat. We have to use the bathroom. We have to pay the bills. There are so many mas'uliyat we have. We do not just sit in the masjid all day. We have things. We're human beings. We have to take care of these responsibilities. So in essence, how much time is left free for a person in a day? maybe not more than 3-4 hours. Now, it is the trick that we have to dedicate these, whatever leftover time we have, try to focus it on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Simple. Allah's not telling us to sit in the masjid all day. Of course not. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not do that himself. Right? We know Surah Furqan, the mushrikeen, they were saying about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَيَمْشِي فِي الْأَسْوَاقِ. He is doing business, tijara. How is it possible? He eats, يَأْكُلُ الطَّعَامِ, he eats, وَيَشْرَبُ مِمَّا تَشْرَبُونَ, and he also drinks from what you drink. How does it make sense? He is a human being, we are human beings. Allah understands that. He is our creator. But whatever time we have left, it is best to focus it on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? It is not that hard. If we can even do 2 rak'ahs a night, Allah does not want too much from us. The arkan, the 5 salah, hajj, zakah, simple things. Compared to what the Sahaba went through, I think we have it pretty easy. Right? I think we can agree that we are not fighting battles. They were poor, alhamdulillah. We have a very beautiful place here. So we're not poor, alhamdulillah. Allah gave us these facilities. And even if you cannot dedicate that little 3-4 hours of time, that is also not too much of a problem. Because everything we do, excuse me, if we have the right intention, it automatically becomes ibadah. What do I mean? If I walk to the masjid to catch salah, walking itself is not a worship, it's not ibadah. But if you are walking to the masjid for salah, that becomes ibadah. So you can make your job, your work, a form of ibadah if you have the right intention. That makes it so much easier for us. We do not have to sit in the masjid all day. We could carry on with our normal lives and still get ajr. That is very good business, I would think. I'm doing my normal job, I'm getting paid for it in this life and in the next. How? إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. So whenever you do your job, do it perfectly, do it good, do it well. If you're a medical doctor, make sure you diagnose the patient properly. Go through everything in his blood report. If you're a construction worker, make sure you build or fix whatever you do it right. If you're a plumber, make sure you fix the pipes properly so that the tenant doesn't have to call you back in 2 hours and say it's leaking again. If you are a butcher, make sure you slaughter properly. If you are a professor or a teacher, make sure you teach them the knowledge. It doesn't have to be the knowledge about the deen. Ilm is not only about ilm al-deen. We have also the science. So whatever you do, do it well. And in this way, you are satisfying your purpose. You are also satisfying your purpose in life. And it is very difficult, but it must be done. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجِعُونَ. That you think that we have just created you in vain? Meaning, just created there without any purpose? That you will not return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? فَتَعَالَى اللَّهُ مَلِكُ الْحَقِّ. Allah is high, much high above these kind of things. Meaning we are here for 70, 80 years and we have to achieve something within those 70, 80 years. If you go to medical school, you're not going to medical school as an objective in and of itself, but rather you want to be able to practice medicine. You don't want to stay in school forever. You'll go broke. You will have debts to pay. At the end of school, you must graduate and start working. So we have to differentiate between the means and the objectives. Means are something or tools or a wasila for you to achieve your objective. So we have many tools at our disposal, alhamdulillah. We have to recognize these things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us our sam', basar, and He gave us our limbs. He gave us many things. But كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. It is not for free. There is a price. Allah gave us our sight, our hearing, our mouth, our tongues. But everything we are responsible for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us, what have we done with this kind of ni'mah? Did we use it to obtain the objective of life? And we all know it is very easy to say the purpose of life is ibadah. It's very easy to see it. See, I just said it. Ibadah is the purpose of life. It's easy, one word. But the action is the hard one. The action is very hard. Extremely hard. And the Quran says so. قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا. The Arab, the Bedouins at the time of Rasulullah, they told Rasulullah, we believed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands Rasulullah, قل لم تؤمنوا, say you have not believed, but rather you have submitted. ادخلوا في السلم كافة. Enter completely. If you want to make salah, you don't just stand at the door with one foot out of the door and one in the musalla, right? You have to completely get in. To, what is your objective? To make the salah. Do not stay halfway. Come in completely. And if we claim we are Muslims, another example, if a student claims he is a student, but you being a professor never see him in your class, you see him failing all of his exams, he does not even come for the final exam. What kind of student is he? Is he a student? Foolish. Muflis. Why? Because he's paying all that tuition, he did not get anything out of it. Now, if I claim I am a Muslim, but I am not doing what a Muslim is supposed to do, then what kind of a Muslim am I? Is it enough that I said I am a Muslim? Oh, my name is Abdullah, Muhammad, Abdurrahman, beautiful names. Beautiful names. But it is more important to live up to these names. Similarly, given that example, we must bring the analogy to ourselves. If I spent 70, 80 years of life, that is a lot of time. That is maybe too much time. A lot of time for us to get many things accomplished in life. We got our careers, we have our families, we have children, we send them to school, we send them to the top school, alhamdulillah. But we tend to forget that, yes, although these are very, very necessity for the ummah, and for us, of course, our number one priority, we forgot it. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We tend to get distracted. We have a lot of distractions in life. And of course, that is the nature of life. It is the nature of life. We're not denying. The nature of life, this is the reality, the sad reality, that we have one objective, but many shayateen will come and try to pull us away. But that is not a problem. When you take the wrong exit in the highway, what do? Do you sit down and cry all day? No. All you have to do is simply make a U-turn, or just take the freeway back. The same way you got out, Allah provided you a door to get back in. Alhamdulillah. What is that door? Istighfar and tawbah. Simple. Very simple. أَفَلَا يَتُوبُونَ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ? Don't they do tawbah and seek istighfar from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So we should never lose hope. We are human beings, and Allah understands, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, and mankind was created weak, and Allah is very well aware. Because the same way your Mercedes-Benz, the manufacturer, Mercedes, who is in a better position to diagnose any problem with your car? Would you go to a Toyota dealership? Would you go to a Honda dealership? Who is better fit or suited to write the manual for your car? Anytime there's a problem, you open up the manual. How do I change the headlight? How do I change the tail light? I have a flat tire. How should I change? You don't look at a Ford manual. You look at the Mercedes-Benz manual. And not just any Mercedes-Benz. You have to look at the one specific to your model. I don't know the different models out there. S3, whatever they have. But in this way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who wrote our manual. What is our manual? The Quran. The Quran. Any problem we have, any doubt we have, فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. Return it back to Allah and His Messenger. How? We don't have the Messenger with us, so we have to go back to Kitab Allah, the Quran. It has all our solutions. all our solutions, alhamdulillah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being our Lord, He knows what is best for us. So some things we may not think that we need to do it all the time. Some things we do not like to do. People do not like to wake up for fajr. That's obvious. Nobody likes to wake up from sleep. Especially if the blanket is warm in the winter, you do not want to get up. This is how we were created. You may hate or dislike something, but Allah knows it is good for you. And you may love to do something. Some things which are not good for us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram for us. It is not good for us. And when we live by the hudud of Allah, when we live with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made halal for us and haram for us, وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever Allah and His Messenger has given you, take it. وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ. And whatever He has made illegal for you, stay away from it. We have very simple guidelines in our religion, alhamdulillah. Ad-Din yusr. Deen is very, very easy, alhamdulillah. Not like the Yahud and Nasara, they changed a lot of things. And they made it hard on themselves. They ask too many questions. لا تسألوا عن أشياء إن تبد لكم تسؤكم. Do not ask about things which, if it was made clear to you, it will bring evil to you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easy for us. وَمَا عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. Live in that boundary. You know, when you drive down the road, you have a lane. You have the dashed lines on both sides. What happens if you go too far to the right or go too far to the left? You end up hitting the guy next to you. And then you end up with a lawsuit. Right? The goal of these two lines is you can bounce back and forth in between these two lines as much as you want. Stay between the hudud. But do not فَلَا تَعْتَدُوهَا. Do not go out of the line. They teach this in driving school. It's very simple. If you look at your life, same thing. Stay between what Allah told you to stay. You can do this, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that, but just don't do this, just do that. Simple. But insan, they always want to do the very thing that they were told not to do. Where's the proof? Look at our father Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. وَلَا تَقْرَبَ هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ. He had the whole paradise with him. The whole Jannah with him. Thousands, millions of trees and fruits and whatever he wanted to have. He had everything at his hands. Much more than Donald Trump. He had everything in his hands, but that one thing which Allah said, فَلَا تَقْرَبُوهَا, do not get close to it, he had to go to that one. Out of all of the trees, why that one? I made everything else okay for you, why did you have to go to this one? And we know the story, what happened, what was the result. And Shaitan deceived him. One of the tricks of Shaitan is, he takes whatever evil there is and he changes the name of it. He deceives you. How? That tree was a tree, it was nothing but a tree. But Shaitan called it Shajaratul Khuld, the tree of eternity, وَالْمُلْكِ لَا يَبْلَى, and kingdom that will never end. He tricked Shaitan, he tricked Adam a.s. and Hawa. How? He changed the name, made it attractive. وَلَوْزَيِّنَنَ لَهُمْ, I will make it beautiful for them. If Shaitan tells you, come, let's drink wine, right now, if someone comes to you and says, come on, let's drink, would you do it? Of course not. Because he is calling the evil exactly what it is, very direct to the point. But if he says, oh, this has a lot of health benefits for you, and it does this and that for you, and you get to live, scientists say you could live 20 more years just because you drink this, you're like, you know what, that sounds good. I think I'll take it. And you drink. And then at the end of the day, you found out it was nothing but water, or something. Khamr. This is the tricks of Shaitan. And we know that these are the tricks of Shaitan. They are trying to deceive us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? Allah says in Surah Ibrahim, قال الشيطان لما قضى الأمر إن الله وعدكم وعد الحق ووعدتكم فأخلفتكم. That Allah has promised you the truthful promise. ووعدتكم, and I also promised you. فأخلفتكم, but I betrayed you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making it clear to us that this is exactly what will happen to us, or happen to the people who decide to follow Him. وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُم مِّن سُلْطَانٍ, and I have no power over you, no one forced you. إِلَّا أَن دَعَوْتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي, I only called you, He deceived you, He tricked you and me, فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي, and you of your own will answered me. Did anyone put a gun to your head? No. You did it of yourself. فَلَا تَلُومُونِي, so don't blame me. وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, and blame yourselves. This is it's not a hidden knowledge. Allah made it clear to us what is going to happen. Before you even started reading the story, you already know the ending. So how can someone not be intelligent enough to prepare for this ending? If the professor tells you in 2 weeks you have the midterm, or you have the final exam, or you have such and such project, are you going to, with most students, including myself, sometimes I did that, we would wait till the day right before, the midnight, and then we quickly start working on it. And you think one night of preparation will give you the result you want. Does it work like that? Does life work like that? Do you just go to medical school for one day and then you end up becoming an MD? You have to go 10, 15 years. It is a lengthy and tedious, very, very strict process. But don't you think that Jannah also requires some form of work similar to that, medical school or whatever career? Because Jannah has a much higher price. Much more difficult than any other career or school we can think of. إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَىٰ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a deal with us. If I give one of you my phone and I let you borrow it, and then I pay you to get it back, my own phone, does it make sense? No. But think that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing with us. Our life is not my life. My wealth is not my wealth. It is to Allah. But He bestowed upon us this, and at the end He says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَىٰ, He bought from us our own lives and wealth. مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةَ, so that they can have al-Jannah. Allah bought from us, He leased from us, He rented from us, whatever word you want to use, financed from us, borrowed from us, my own life and my money. بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةَ, so that they can have al-Jannah, paradise. Subhanallah, تِجَارَةً لَن تَبُورَ. This is a business that will not collapse, fail. It's a very good business. Now, who in his right mind will not want to accept this deal? Now, there are many ayat in the Quran talking about the akhirah, what will happen there, what will happen in the grave. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, made it very clear that our life is already decreed, how many years we live. This has been written down. We do not know when we will go, but we know we will go. And apparently scientists have tried to do research about things which prolong someone's life, but you can only fight for so long, and then the qadr has to come. And before the qadr comes, before your final exam comes, you want to make sure that you studied for the topics on the exam. You do not want to wait till the final exam comes and then see, oh, I was supposed to study this, I was supposed to study that. Oh, I don't know this topic, I don't know that topic. You don't want to be in that situation. And Allah is calling us, warning us about this situation. يَا أَيُّهَا الْإِنسَانِ مَا غَرَّكَ بِرَبِّكَ الْكَرِيمِ الَّذِي خَلَقَكَ فَسَوَّاكَ فَعَدَلَكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses very beautiful words. The same way your mother will call you, oh my son, oh my daughter, oh my little son, oh my child. Ya ayyuhal insan ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem. What has led you away from your kind, compassionate, bi rabbikal kareem? He said al-kareem. He didn't say your angry Lord, Allah is calling upon us the way a mother would call upon her child, with compassion. الَّذِي خَلَقَكَ فَسَوَّاكَ فَعَدَلَكَ, the one who has created you and fashioned you, وَصَوَّرَكَ, and put you in a beautiful proportion. This is our Allah. فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ, where are we going? Where are you headed? You know, we know that if you attended many of the janazah, you know that once the body leaves the morgue, you know there's only a one way. It's not a two-way road anymore, it's only one way. And what is that one way? The maqbara. He has to go to the grave. Underneath. It is a sad reality if you have followed the janazah all the way to the graveyard. It is a very solemn occasion. And we know each one of us one day will be carried on the shoulder of someone else. All of us one day will be on the shoulder of someone else. So let us turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Allah says, فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ مِنْهُ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. When you see a dog in the street, a pit bull, for example, very vicious dog, and it's chasing after you, do you run to the dog or you run away from the dog? Away. Humans run away from the source of fear. But with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, can anyone run away from Him? لا ملجأ من الله إلا إليه. No escape, no respite from Allah except to Him. So when you have done something to anger Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's very simple what you have to do. It's not a big deal. وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً أَوْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ ذَكَرُوا اللَّهَ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ. Those who have done some evil deed, some vain action, fahisha, أَوْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. Notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we did dhulm to ourselves, not to Allah. We did injustice, oppression, لِأَنفُسِهِمْ, to their own self, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not get harmed or benefit by our ibadat. أَوْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَذَكَرُوا اللَّهَ, they remember Allah, فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ. So they just simply say, Astaghfirullah ya Rabb, oh Allah, I promise you I will not do it again, please forgive me, please help me not to do it again in the future. فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ, and who besides Allah will forgive? We have no option except to turn back to Allah. طَوْعًا أَوْ كَرْهًا. Either we do it voluntarily now, or we will be forced to do it on the day where even when turning to Him at that stage will not help us. فَلَمْ يَكُنْ يَنْفَعُهُمْ إِيمَانُهُمْ لَمَّا رَأَوْا بَأْسَنَا. Their iman on that day will not help them once they already see the situation. On that day, it is too late. But alhamdulillah, we still have respite. Allah has given us extra days. Allah is allowing us to live now. We have to seize the chance. As Muslims, we have to be opportunists. What does this mean? We have to seize every chance and opportunity to further our goal in life, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and use every possible tool there is at our disposal. Whatever you do, do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if it's your job, even if it's your business. If you say, I want to go to medical school, alhamdulillah, be that. We want to see an MD after your name. Now Muhammad, we want to see the medical degree. MD. Why? Because if a Muslim comes to me, I can give him his proper diagnostic. I could be sincere with him. I could write him a prescription for free, maybe once or twice. I want to help the community. Our community does not have engineers. Okay, I want to be an engineer so I can help them do A, B, C, and D. We have to think long term. Long term. And alhamdulillah, this is what this center is about. They're thinking long term. They want to think about after they're gone, who will come here and expand and grow. Right now we have few people, alhamdulillah, but of course it will grow. As any center, everything starts with a small thing. One dharra, one atom. Human beings, if you actually look at what a human being is, he is nothing but, and chemical engineers and doctors would know this, and biologists, they are nothing but chemicals from the periodic table. Oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sodium, our bones are made of calcium. And how do they designate these elements? We're just one or two letters or three letters maximum on the table. That is all what we are. We are nothing but one or two letters, insignificant letters. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fashioned these atoms, these chemicals in such a way that we have our perfect form from the fadl of Allah. This is a sign. If one of these proteins in the DNA, we know what happens when you have genetic mutation. Just one protein is off, a person, subhanAllah, the mutilated DNA could cause so much damage to the body. Just one small thing. There's 4 proteins in the DNA, if I remember correctly. One of them, if their order is messed up, it damages the body with unspeakable amount of damage. And who is the one who fashioned this? There's so many things that can go wrong in our body. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept everything running smoothly. Allah says, وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ, that in our own selves are ayat, signs, don't you see? And I'm not talking about physically seeing. Of course, I cannot see without my glasses at all. I'm talking about seeing from the heart. إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. My father, he loved astronomy. He's not an astronomer, but he loved astronomy. As a little kid, he used to go up to the roof and look at the sun and the stars and the moon, the same way Ibrahim ﷺ used to do. We know the Surah Al-An'am talks about how Ibrahim ﷺ saw the sun and the moon and the stars, and he thought each one of them was Allah until he found the truth. So he liked that. So in the astronomy, in these planets, and even up today, the scientists are still discovering new stars and planets. And Trump, however sick he may be, he wants to create a space army now. Something straight out of the movies. Of course that seems funny, but there are ayat in space. And who knows, maybe in 30, 40 years, people, the way they are fighting on Earth for resources, they'll be fighting on the moon to control the moon. Who knows? Allah knows. Why are people fighting? Because there are signs in there. There's something valuable in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and in the cycle of the moon and the day. وَخِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, right? This is a system. And throughout this system of orbit and revolution comes about the Islamic calendar. You know, the Hijri calendar is based on the moon, not the sun. SubhanAllah, these things which we think are insignificant. How does the earth have 24 days? How does the sun rise and set? How does the moon come about? This ikhtilaf al-layl wa nahar. Why isn't the cycle reversed? Why doesn't the moon come out first and then the day? Allah says, وَلَا اللَّيْلُ سَأَبِقُ النَّهَارِ. The night does not compete or go ahead of the day. وَكُلٌّ فِي فَلْكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. And all of them are like floating or swimming in the creation, in the universe. And these things are signs for us. And the signs will only be understood by who? أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ, those who think. You know, when you look at a lake, if you don't have a mirror, if you're in the picnic or something, you don't have a mirror. You want to look at your own reflection to see how you look. Can you look while the lake has so many ripples and shaking and waves? No. You need a settled, calm body of water. The surface has to be calm. It cannot have disturbance. It has to be flat with no disturbance, no ripples, no waves. Similarly, the human mind cannot do tafakkur, cannot think, cannot ponder or do tadabbur. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Don't they do thinking and concentrating about the Quran? They cannot do these things except when they have a calm and settled mind. The same way you cannot look at your reflection in the lake because there's too much disturbance. You cannot reflect on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you have too much going on in your brain. At one point, maybe before you sleep, 1 minute, you sit down and count what you did throughout the day. You know what I used to do? I believe 2 months ago, I was surprised, where does all my time go? I was complaining that I have no time. I do not seem to be doing too much of the day, but where is all my time going? So I said, for 1 week, just 1 week, I'm going to sajil, I'm going to record everything I do throughout the day. What time to what time? What time I make fiqh, what time I make dua, what time I ate, what time I left for work, come back, all this. Do hisab of yourself. Do hisab of yourself. Before the hisab on Yawm al-Qiyamah comes. Right? And then I see that there's a lot of time mismanagement there. Yes, we are busy, but we are not being efficient. Efficiency. What is efficiency? How much you put into the system relative to how much you get out of a system. If I put in $100 into a business and then I have negative $300 balance, what efficiency is there? Zero. You're broke. You'll have to declare bankruptcy. Now, a human being, in order to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because our objective after all is to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to do ibadah for Him, no matter what we do. We have to be efficient. We have to watch where our time goes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي مَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا قَالَ كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. Then we have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to make Him our priority. He's not telling us to make Him the only priority. Make Him a priority. Put Him on the top. Take care of that and then do whatever else you want. Make sure before you go to item B, C, D, and E, make sure you get item A first. You know, when your mom, or when we were kids, your mother used to send you to the grocery, right? She would tell you, I need milk and eggs and this, but don't forget this, I need this. Without this, the milk and eggs is not going to do anything. If she wants to make pancake or whatever, she needs flour first. That's the main ingredient. She said, get the flour first, then go get the milk and the egg. And she would put that the first thing on the list, and maybe she would put 3 stars on it to make sure you don't forget. Why? Because without that, the other things that come after it is not really that valuable. It may be valuable in this life to a certain extent, but in the akhirah, it won't help too much, if at all. Similarly, this ayah is saying, whoever returns away from my remembrance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعْشَةً ضَنكًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him a sad, miserable, painful life in this world. You know, we see all these Hollywood stars and movies and singers, they seem to be happy. But every once in a while, you will see it comes in the news that, oh, he died because he did a drug overdose. Or he died because he was shot in his mansion. Or he died because, you know, he injected himself with so-and-so. Why do these people do that? Even millionaires. You see, oh, he's a millionaire, he jumped from his tower. Because they do not really have sa'ada in life. They do not have tama'nina in their life. Because Allah is missing from the equation. You could have many variables. In calculus, you have so many variables. X, Y, Z, A, B, and C. They drive you crazy. But there's usually one variable which you have to solve for first. And after that, you plug that value into the equation and you continue. Next stage, you get the next variable, next variable. Similarly, our life, we have one variable that we have to address first. We have to balance that equation first. And that balance, that equation is between you and Allah. Me and Allah. Once we have an equal side there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have an understanding with each other. Tafaddal mashkura, do whatever you want. And the Sahaba, they did this. They made sure their priority with Allah was straight, and then they went out. فَابْتَغُوا مِنْ رِزْقِ اللَّهِ. Well, we know in Surah Al-Jum'ah it says, when فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةُ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. When you have finished remembering Allah, go out in the world and make money. Make money. That is exactly whose money is this? Allah made it halal for you. Go get it. There's nothing wrong. But what was the condition? فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةُ. When you finished your duty, your mas'uliyah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, take care of everything else. And it is your job to do it. Why? وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا أَتَاكَ اللَّهُ دَارَ الْآخِرَةِ وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, seek the hereafter. And do not forget your rightful proportion from this life. That is why we say رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً. We do not just say رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً and then we forget the dunya. We did. Right? There are some people that only ask about the dunya. وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. And then he has nothing left for him in the akhirah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the best in this life and in the next. Why not? And we should. But the condition was that we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because what happens to those who turn away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? فَإِنَّهُمْ يَعِشُونَ ضَنْكَ. They have misery in their life. And this, you see, this causes these people to kill themselves and do all these crazy things. وَنَحْشُرُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And then he will be raised up blind. قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى. Oh Lord, why have you raised me up blind when I used to be able to see? قَالَ كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا. That's how our ayat, our signs, our commands came to you, and the same way you turned away from us. كَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. And today you will be forgotten. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ. Do not be like those who have forgotten Allah. Allah will cause them to forget themselves. Because what? They forgot the objective of life, which was to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By any means possible. It doesn't even have to be only salah. And nobody's saying that. Your work is an ibadah for you. Taking care of your family is an ibadah for you. Taking care of your kids is an ibadah for you. Taking care of your wives is an ibadah for you. Making them happy is also an ibadah for you. Allah says, وَلَا يَحْزَنَّ وَيَرْضَيْنَ بِمَا آتَيْتُمْ. That do not make them sad, make them pleased with what you have given them. There are so many ways for us to make Allah happy. And relatively, there are few ways to make Allah angry. Yes, it is easier to make Allah happy than it is easier to make Him angry. And it is easier to get more good deeds. Why? Because when you do a good deed, Allah multiplies it by what? By 10, at the least. At the least. And even if you had the niyyah to do the good deed and you didn't do it, you still get the hasanah. SubhanAllah. If you go to your classroom and you go to your professor and tell him, oh, I wanted to do the project but I didn't do it, will he give you a grade for it? He will give you a grade, but he'll give you a 0, an F grade. But Allah does not work like that. You tell Allah, oh Allah, I wanted to do it but I got sick, or I got tired today, I couldn't do it. Allah says, no problem. I write down the deed for you. That's it. Check is signed. Go cash. You did it, you get 10 times more. And for the bad deed, you do not even get it until you fully go through with it. Even having the niyyah to do something evil is not enough for you to get a bad deed. I say, yeah, subhanallah. Allah is so rahim, Allah is so ghafoor, give us so many avenues and channels to do good, to make Him happy. And even when you are on the way to do the bad deed, for example, when you are walking to go to the bar, you stepped in the door and you saw it, and then for some reason you said, no, this is too much. This is too far for me, let me go back home. Because you did that, you did not get any bad deed. Allah did not even write it down for you while you were walking there. And because you turned away from it, that's it. It's as if nothing happened between you and Allah, you're all good. SubhanAllah. How merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And that is why in the Quran, we have how many? 114 basmalah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Of course, Tawbah doesn't have. We have 2 in them. Allah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim has been repeated 114 times at the least. Does it say Bismillah al-Shadid al-Iqab? SubhanAllah. We would be very depressed people if every surah we begin with Bismillah al-Shadid al-Iqab. Right? We would be very depressed. Maybe we would not even want to be like, what kind of Lord is this? You know, this is too much, you know. Maybe I'll find Christianity where everything is easy. Everything is easy. Alhamdulillah, Allah says, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Hameen, Tanzil Kitab Allah Al-Aziz Al-Alim, Ghafir Al-Dhanbi. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be balanced. وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قَوَامًا. They are balanced. That's why it says, نَبِّعْ عِبَادِي أَنِّي أَنَا الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ وَأَنَّ عَذَابِي هُوَ الْعَذَابُ الْأَلِيمُ. That, O Muhammad ﷺ, inform my servants that I am very forgiving. But also my punishment is, severe. So make sure they keep both sides balanced. That's it. And there's not too much to this topic. It's very simple, right? We're not going about fiqh of udhiyah and all these different things. It's very simple. These things we know this, our parents taught this to us. So this was just a very small reminder for us all. جزاكم الله خير. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.